Hello and welcome back to another Gunpla review. Today we'll be taking a look at the high-grade Universal Sentry Gyan from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. And after the work that went into last week's review, card if you want to go watch that, I'm glad to be reviewing a kit that's a little bit simpler. So, let's take a look at Mikuve's Mobile Suit. I think I pronounced that right. And start off by taking a look at the Gyan with the articulation. Alright, getting into the articulation, let's start off with the head, which actually has standard high-grade mobility. It's on a ball joint. Yeah, it can come off a little easy, but it's also on a forward-back rocking hinge for the neck itself, so you can look really far up, like more than you'd probably ever need. Really good down, and a full rotation. Also, like, really good side to side too. This head is really well articulated. Moving on to the shoulders, you get a forward-facing polycap, but it's really deep set in there. You get pretty good. It does have a plastic cap over the polycap to sort of hide it a bit more. So, you know, you get pretty good to the front. You can get the arm across the chest anyway. That's nice. Speaking of the arm, full 90 degrees there. Swivel at the bicep, double jointed elbow, though it does look a little bit weird when it's fully bent. And the hands, as always, are on a ball joint. Now, moving on to the waist, it's just a couple of ball joints, one here, but that said, you get really nice movement to either, well, this one does most of the work, but you do get a nice bit of movement, both front and back. And you even get a bit of rotation in it to get a slightly more organic movement when you move the chest. So, I mean, it's not like crazy articulation going on, but it is really nice. Speaking of really nice articulation, the skirt. Now, the back skirt is actually hinged, and also there is a second hinge in here. This is actually the same kind of joint they used in the Moon Gundam to get more of a forward movement there. So you get a really nice crunch using that joint, though it does look a little bit weird, but I mean, whatever, the joint's there. These are on hinges, and also it's a swivel, so you can move them forward or back, but it doesn't, you shouldn't do that, it looks weird. And the front skirts can actually be separated, and they're on ball joints. Now, that said, I don't know how well you can see it. There's those gray pieces, that's what the ball joints are on. This blue front is actually one piece as well, but you can just split it right there, and it's actually nice to do. It's not hard, and it actually looks a little bit better. Now, the hips are on a rocking joint, so you get a little bit more movement there. And then universal joints for the hips. Even with how high up the armor comes here, you can get full splits and pretty much a 90-degree rotation out to the side, though nothing inward. And front skirts do get a little bit in the way, but you can still get a pretty high kick. And since the back skirt can get out of the way, maybe not quite that far out of the way, you can get pretty good kick out to the back. Give me a moment. Yeah, that just came off because I was being silly. As for the knee, you get a very nice knee bend. It looks a little bit weird here when it's fully bent, but what are you going to do? You can't really do much to this design to not have that. I'd rather have the bend. And for the ankle, not a ton towards the back, but it's okay. Pretty good to the front, and you do get a toe bend. So you get a really good bend there. Could maybe do with a little bit more to either side. I do kind of feel like this could get a little bit more of a bend there. Maybe if they had used a polycap, you know, a circular peg style one, they could swing the actual ankle joint. But whatever. The articulation is really nice, and it's more than enough to get this into any pose from the show, so can't really complain. And getting into the accessories, let's start off as always by taking a look at the stickers. Pretty simple, just the cockpit hatch in the chest. Obviously I painted mine, but I don't even think the sticker would look that bad. And the mono-eye. Strangely enough, they actually include two different mono-eyes. So you can have a larger one, which I went with, or a smaller one. Definitely a bit of a weird choice, but hey, I do appreciate the option. That said, I will say the piece that the mono-eye is on is the same gray as the joints. I painted it black, and I think it does look a lot better if you do that. It's not hard to do, so if you have a little bit of black paint, I'd recommend doing that. Now moving on to the actual accessories, first off we have the shield, which, come on, go in, close the hand back around it. Don't really know why they did it like that. It would be easier just to slide it in, but whatever. And it's not super secure there. It comes off fairly easy if you bump it, but it's not going to fall off at least. And it is actually fully color separated. And this is the missile shield. If you've watched 0079, you know. Very nice that it was fully color separated, especially this gold, which you'll see a little bit more of in the other accessories. It's not like a glittery gold, it's very flat but reflective. It looks really nice. It's almost more of a bronze color. Also, this shield does actually shift. It hinges around like that, and not the easiest thing in the world to get it to sit quite right, but I'll try my best. Gotta make sure the hand doesn't come off. Yeah, you could have it. It does look a little awkward, but you'd have it in the actual firing position for all of the missiles. Anyway, by the way, I will point out holding hands. But taking this one off, you have the other accessories. The beam rapier, let's call it. Though they do just call it a beam saber. I don't know, I think it's a bit too distinct to just be a standard beam saber. But you do get a specific holding hand for it, which does have a hinge. If I can get it on, it'll actually be a little bit more obvious. Come on, there we go. It's a bit of a tight polycap actually, which is a good thing. It means the hands don't fall off. But yeah, you have a dedicated angled holding hand for it, which can also hinge down to basically be pointing straight forward. Which is great for any sort of thrusting pose you want to put it in, or even just having it held down or up. And this one's actually a little loose. Thankfully the sword's actually held by this half of the hand, and this just keeps it in place, so you don't really have to worry about it. But excuse me a moment. There we go. Yeah, these hands aren't loose or anything. I'm just a bit of a klutz. Though if you've been watching me for a while, you might know that. And that's all this comes with, which, to be fair, is really all you'd want. Really, the only thing I would like is a open hand for this side, but that's more of a personal preference, not really a necessity. Also, I should point out before I forget, this is actually compatible with action bases, so you don't have to worry about that. And as for a quick size comparison, this is a very tall one-year war suit. Like a really tall one-year war suit. I don't know why the Gyan is so tall. It's taller than the Gelgoog, taller than Dom. The Goof is about the same height as the Zanku, so obviously it's taller than that, but this is a really, really tall suit. I was not expecting it to be as big as it is. So, to wrap this review up, the Gyan Revive is a really nice kit, and honestly I would recommend getting it. I will warn you though that the blue, the dark blue, is bad. It's very easy to horribly damage it when you're cleaning up the nubs. In fact, I had to paint over a couple of them, it was that bad. So, Be careful with that, but the kit is worth it. Does a lot of things right, has very minimal color correction, and honestly, it's a really charming design. I can understand that a lot of people might not like it. I wasn't a huge fan of the head either until I got it in person, but it's a very nice kit and the design is growing on me. So if you have any interest in picking this up, I can fully support getting it. But anyway, that's been all for this review. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, it helps a lot. Subscribe for future reviews and watch my backlog. Go follow me on Twitter for updates, and consider supporting me on Patreon so I can keep bringing you reviews, just like this one. And as always, until next time, happy building.